on personal devices, and they're doing personal stuff on their work devices. There's all this sharing. And one of the most surprising data points we found in the study was that about, I think it was 26% of people admit that they allow other family members to use their work devices.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can just imagine that you're getting a good Mac and you want like your kid to play some kind of a game and it's not really working fast on your older machine. So I guess that that's a good reason.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, I got the number wrong. It's 46%, not 26%.
46.
46% of people allow other family members to use their work device.
Yeah, but like the question is, are people less compliant in general, or it's really related to the fact that they're mixing everything is the same work, going to the office, being at home, doing my personal stuff the same as doing my official role. So, do you think it's the compliance thing or the fact that they're single together?
It's a bit of both. So there is definitely a compliance piece to this. And what has happened is that over the last 2 years, because all this change has happened so quickly, employers have tried their best to enable people to be productive and work anywhere they live or where they need to be. And a lot of the measures that have been taken have been band-aids. They've been done quickly. And what we're seeing now is a little bit of pushback from the workforce. And we found that 46% of young people in particular find their company security policies to be too restrictive. They're too
Yeah.
restrictive. So what's happening is they're working around those policies. They're finding ways to kind of hack the system, and they're
Yeah.
working around their company's security. And a huge percentage of young people say that they're actually more efficient when they use tools like Dropbox and Gmail and these tools to collaborate, because they
Yeah.
find that the tools the company gave them were just too restrictive.
Yeah.
And so this is a major problem, because if you think about the leadership in those companies, they're paying for good tools and they're rolling them out with some security, and people are bypassing them. They're working
Yeah.
around them, and they're saving company data in a Dropbox account that nobody else has access to, and they're collaborating using tools that are just easier to use. And so that really starts to break down the security fabric that these organizations have put in place.
Yeah. I think that even if the user experience, for example, of the organizational tools, let's say that inside the organization you're working with Teams and outside they're using Slack or using Gmail, whatever. I don't think it's only the way that it's used. I think all the policies that are imposed on these tools make it so harder. Like it's not only a password. Sometimes you cannot get to some of the data. Some of the attachments are gone. You cannot get types of files. You can't get some people from outside the organization to collaborate. All of that, I guess.
Yeah,
And if you
y-
like, it's too hard.
you're exactly right. And the easy example to give here is if a company needs their employees to use a VPN to access specific information, right? Let's say you got to fire up a VPN and log in again to access a folder, a shared drive somewhere to access some information. After a while, employees just get lazy and they start saving that somewhere easier, right?
Yeah,
Could be Dropbox or could be one of the many other storage locations. And that's the
yeah.
beginning of IP fragmentation. Your information is now getting fragmented and it's starting to leak, and it's out there and public storage locations. That's one very
Mhm.
simple example, but it's happening all around us all day, every day.
And that's the reason why companies are getting hacked. So the hackers are working easier with less work to get what they need.
Yes, the primary reason that organizations are getting hacked is through their passwords. So compromised credentials, so the combination of username and password, when they get compromised, that's the primary way that bad actors get into companies. And the problem that we found from our research is that most of us have too many passwords, right? We've just got too many passwords in our
Yeah.
work lives and in our personal lives. And it varies by age. And the really scary thing is the youngest generation has the most passwords.
The
So
most.
they've been in the workforce less time than all the rest of us, but they've got more accounts and more subscriptions and more passwords than any other generation. And they're not able to manage them. They're just not able to manage them very effectively because there's too many. And so what happens is, as humans, we cannot remember a database of all these complex long passwords with numbers and alphanumeric characters, and we can change them every 90 days. So we find hacks, we find ways of kind of cheating. And what we found is the way people save and store their passwords is a major problem. So we call that password hygiene, and what people are doing to doing with their passwords is really the problem. So we found 29% of people write their work passwords in a personal journal or a personal diary.
They need to
So
write it somewhere.
they need to write it somewhere. And another 24% put their work passwords on a notes app